running. Let's kill the intro music. All right, man. So how you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm good, good. Just frantically getting all this set up. I've been in a little bit of a trade this morning of this. For me, I was looking at the 69.45, but I think I misread it a little bit. So for me, I actually decided to cut it for a couple of points loss. Actually, before we get into that, maybe we'll just take a look at the pre-market prep sheet. So just to get a sense of where we are. So trading right around 69.42. I've kind of got these little ranges in here that are just used to give myself a sense of where we are, and sort of how fertile the ground is. So what I've got here is 5-day range, the prior day range, and then the overnight range, and where we are relative to those ranges. So kind of what I use this for is the higher these numbers, sort of the more barren the landscape is, I suppose, in terms of potential setups. But we're sitting pretty much in the middle of the range, and what we've done is we've sort of re-established ourselves inside that little 2-day range that we had after Christmas. So this kind of yellow box here with the 30s, 33, 35, and then up to the 60s, that we broke down from, back tested, sold off again, and then Sunday night, put in the big push up through into yesterday and up to the top of the range. But now we've just been kind of drifting back down to the bottom of that, so we may be starting to rework this range again, with 45 being the sort of magnet in the middle of that. So that's a little bit of the story. But yeah, as I was saying, I was looking at engaging this 45 level, but I don't know if it's through sleepy eyes or what, sort of didn't really pick up on the cluster of lows here down at 40 from yesterday afternoon, and then into the close, and then in the evening, kind of 3 good tags of that. And then obviously in the London session, flushed through that, came back, accepted it pretty extensively over hours, and then lifted off. So
Yeah, you took something last night, right? Why don't you get into a little bit of what your read was on
yeah,
that
so
one?
I think that partly I took the reclaim of 45 last night as well, right around that'd be 8:15 money time. So on this big push up through, um, got a. I only took that small size, so I got one level, and my runner actually trailed out on this flush in the London session. Given that, I think I was still sort of very focused on that 45 level. But with that trade, the acceptance was pretty clear. It was fairly straightforward. I mean, it's evening kind of reclaim, so they're never the most pleasant to trade, but fairly straightforward, I think. The only problem there was we had the sort of the 51 above it immediately, so you had to take profits quite quickly on that one. But you can see it kind of chopped around, flagged at 51 again, and then pushed up higher.
Yep.
So I was basically looking to re-engage the exact same trade this morning, and neglected to kind of pick up on those lows around 40, and maybe had I done that, it could have got a better entry. So yeah,
Yeah,
given
I mean, when I woke up this morning, I saw that, we had a nice low at 40 that we had a failed breakdown of overnight. Um, so I immediately also noticed that we had some really nice extensive acceptance for a couple of hours
mm,
there.
just
And
saw that.
we still did have that small shelf from last night at 45. So I did want to respect that as well. But we did have some, pretty nice acceptance there. So I thought that was a pretty valid entry there. Besides that, for today, obviously you have your new overnight low. just about at 69.31, I think. That can obviously be tracked for a failed breakdown now, and then below that we have the 69.12.13 area, kind of where we lifted off from yesterday. So those are kind of the things I'm tracking today, to see if I need to re-engage in something. So we'll see what happens. So far it seems that we're coming, just a little bit down into that 69.40 area, and it's kind of just consolidating here at a tight range. So when some volatility opens up in either direction, we'll get a better read of what's going on.
Yeah, for sure. And if we do pick up, the 51, if we just get a burst of strength off the open here in a few minutes, then the 51 add-on strength is still an option. We've kind of dipped off of it already. Maybe you'd like to see one more dip and then a push through with momentum. So that's still on the cards. Something like yay. Then overnight low, as you've mentioned, for a clean failed breakdown. You didn't mention the 25. You're not interested in this. This is one of those. He always likes to add these kind of breakout levels as potential levels to either do a direct bid from, or a flush and reclaim.
I gave up on direct bids a long time ago.
Yeah, I don't trade them either, but
um,
I would be
yeah, the
interested
only
if we
time I
flush and reclaim.
consider them is if we have like really, really strong back test zones.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, I try to look for some sort of mini failed breakdown, maybe in the area, or some, loss and reclaim of some small structure. And those are also very rare because it's got to be in zones that I feel are, extremely, extremely powerful after
Mm-hmm.
a nice sell. So especially now with that new overnight low here at 31, I think I would just wait for that to give a failed breakdown.
Yeah, I think that's
If we
probably
have to
prudent.
go and retest lower.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, the 12 does look enticing if we get down that low, and then obviously
Yep.
the major levels are beneath that for the prior day's low. With the 12, you can look for the bottom of this shelf to hold. If it doesn't flush that, if it just kind of tests that and then recovers 12, that's definitely a good trade. Or if it flushes that, then you can engage on the 6 level as well.
Yeah.
Um, but bear in mind, if we do break below that, then this is where the bear case is starting to activate. We would have already dropped 40 points by that time. If we start dipping down here to the 66 level, that's pretty significant sell. So just take your time, wait for the selling pressure to subside a little bit before engaging. You don't need to be the first one to pick up this 66 level.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that's always a key to point out is anytime we have, a huge elevator sell down. I know Adam has lately kind of talked about, basically like you have a sell algorithm that gets activated, and when that happens, no support's gonna hold. Every little bounce is gonna get sold. So when that sell algo is going heavy in ES, you really, really just need to be hands off. And even on, I think what probably trips people up the most, because this is what happened with me too, is when we have those elevator cells down, we usually get one or two like fake failed breakdowns, right? Like there are a couple of spots where you think we're putting in a failed breakdown, but in reality, it's just another trap to head down lower.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something that I think it's very keen to be aware of. I think what again, obviously, it's going to sound cliche about being patient and waiting, but oftentimes, when we do have these huge elevator sell downs, you just have your failed breakdown areas marked, obviously, but don't feel like the first area that we come into is automatically going to be a spot we put in a failed breakdown. You still need price to show you that it's going to do so. And it's okay to be extra patient. I mean, now we also, I think, heading into this year, we're all now aware of this type 3 non-acceptance protocol too. So even if you feel like, oh, I should have gotten entry lower and I missed it, it's okay because there's another wave you can enter, and that's using the non-acceptance protocol if we're just heading up there directly, or if you missed the initial entry where there was acceptance.
Hmm. Yeah, and often with those, after a big elevator down like that, when it does put in its final failed breakdown, that's going to travel for multiple levels.
Yeah,
And
Friday was a good example at the
yeah,
72 level, right?
right.
We kept putting in. I can't even. I know you were out second half of the day, but I think I counted almost six failed breakdowns
Hmm.
that on that session. It was very, very lucrative in terms of how many failed breakdowns we had. I'm obviously not the biggest fan when we put in that many in a day because I'm just not taking each one with like size. It just more so feels like a drag just to kind of keep
Yeah.
adding runners back 10 times over and over again,
Right.
which I'm just kind of
You're
like
like,
is more of a
ah,
nuisance. I'd rather just have 1 to 2 high quality field breakdowns a day in an ideal world. But yeah, that was a good example of like we kept putting it in over and over again, and you never know which is going to be the final one that then creates that massive rally. So that's why I mean, you kind of have to just take them all that are valid and present to your ideal failed breakdown. If you ever feel not so good about a quality, you can always size down or go a little lower. But it's hard to predict which one will be the one that will go the distance, and which ones will be the one that only go a little bit and fail.
hmm, absolutely. Just finally on the price action here, things are looking pretty slow at the moment, so um, don't rush into anything. Wait for price to start moving a bit more freely, I would say. If it just slowly grinds its way up to 51, personally, I won't be taking that. It would only be if it really starts moving. And likewise, if we're just slowly grinding our way down to 30, to the overnight low here at 30, really want to see the price movement free up a little bit. We're just working this range at the moment, 35 to 63, with that 45 kind of probably being a magnet in the middle. So let's wait for that volatility to come in, wait for the scary flush, and then look to engage. Okay,
Alrighty.
with that, I think that's the market prep done. Don't forget to check in with yourself. Check in with your mental game. Where are you? Are you in your A game, your B game, your C game? Just be aware of that. Aware of your emotional state, and yeah, uh, see how you can improve on all fronts, not just analysis and read of the price action. I think the emotional game is a huge part of what we need to master here. So with that, we'll catch you in the Discord. Let's go and see what happens on the open.
Alrighty, guys. I'm going.
Thanks. Bye.